Hello, and welcome to Coal Region Discontent.
I'm chasing dragons, this dragon's got my hand. Out robbing people, but I'm an honest man. I'm chasing dragons, this dragon's got my hand. Out robbing people, but I'm an honest man.
Well, let's get started. I'd like to let you know a little bit about what this channel is going to be about and a little bit about myself. It's mostly going to be about pointing out hypocrisy and the ups and downs in politics from back then till now. I believe in working for what you want and making yourself better. But it just seems like nowadays most people just don't feel the same way. I'm pro-life, but I'm also pro-decision. I believe that your decision was when you committed the act. Now, I believe that there's certain situations where medical procedures may be necessary, but those are a small percentage. In fact, I think it's 4%. Like I said, I believe in working for what you need and what you want. I believe in capitalism because I believe that the best man should get the job done. I believe better people should get paid better. I don't believe that minimum wage is supposed to be a career, and I don't believe that you're supposed to live off welfare for 3-4 generations of your family. I mean, I like to go off real facts, not just somebody's opinion that they derived from somebody else's opinion that claims to be fact-based. Here on the show, we might be seeing some things around the coal region. Here, central Pennsylvania, is what we represent. Some people may not like me. Some people may. If you have different opinions than me, that's okay. Because for what I believe in, I believe people are supposed to have their own opinions about things. And there should be meaningful debate. But there's not anymore. There's one side trying to push everything down the other side's throat. And they're blaming it on racism or what have you. Once again, on this show, it's not just going to be political. It's going to be, maybe I'll have some four-wheelers, some dirt bikes. We have some Jeep races around my area. I may go into there, but I may also interview some politicians locally. Video clips from political newscasts, up-and-coming events, and just some things that interest me. But I like to talk about some things that, just don't make sense. I like to point out things that don't make sense that make you think. So, like I said, let's get started. Recently, our duly elected, most popular president in history, 80 million votes, who had about 11,000 people watch his inauguration, boasted that we're heading in the right direction with our job numbers. There was supposed to be 1 million jobs created. In April, there was a little more than 200,000. There's also a labor shortage in the country, which is weird because the unemployment rate keeps rising. But I guess if you incentivize people to stay home and get paid more than most people who are working, and paid more than they were when they were working, I guess you'll have that. But the thing is, they're using this labor shortage as an excuse to convince you that we need more people to come in at our southern border. There's not a crisis there, but when Donald Trump had it, there was a crisis. In fact, there was kids in cages, and this was a humanitarian issue. But I think they ought to flip it around. Start giving the extra money to the people who are working. I bet you see that unemployment number drop then. Yeah, I realize I'm not a funny guy, but at least I'm trying. And I promise you that if you click the like and subscribe button, that the future videos to come, once I start learning how to work all these programs and get better equipment, and as time goes by, if it picks up, the videos will get better, have more content. And if you have any suggestions on what you'd like to hear from me, feel free to leave them in the comments section. But if you click that subscribe button, you'll be able to hear all the new videos from Cold Region Discontent. Because I'm discontent about the fact that people just don't understand what would happen if the minimum wage doubled from $7.25. I don't know if anybody's old enough watching it to remember what happened when the minimum wage went up to $7.25. Around that time, small businesses that couldn't pay their employees had to close. People that couldn't compete with people like Walmart and stuff, who now, with the labor shortage, are starting to offer double their wages just to get workers in the door. Who do you think's going to suffer from that? You go to other states that have $14 minimum wages, like California or Portland, or Oregon, and it'll ruin their economy. And if you look at, say, the price of milk at like $3.49 or $4 a gallon when it's $14 minimum wage, then you come around here where you're getting it for $2 a gallon a lot. It has a lot. A lot of people want to make you believe that inflation's not a real thing. Well, if you look over past decades, it definitely is. I mean, look at now. Look at with all the money that's flooding into the country, flooding into, I should say, the economy, quote unquote, from the government and their coronavirus package. A coronavirus package that was 7% for relief, and the rest all went to other countries and things like that. Now, a lot of this is fact. Some of it's my opinion, but one of my opinions is, when did we get the entitlement issue of thinking that the government should take care of us? I still live in an area where a lot of people would be shamed to be on welfare. Welfare was meant for people that fell on hard times. Like I said, it wasn't meant to raise 3 generations of your family on. If you're teaching your next generation just how to fill out the paperwork and get over on the system, you're a real piece of shit. And if you're still collecting unemployment with all these jobs that are available, readily available, offering higher wages, you're a real piece of shit. You know, they just don't understand. What I don't get is, you have Biden that ran on the tax issues. We should tax the rich. Well, does not anybody realize the rich people are the ones that owns the companies? They own the companies that hire the people that give them a salary to feed their family with. If they get taxed more, they're A, either just going to raise prices, or B, just send it on down the line to the employees, either making less or taking more taxes out of their checks. Or they'll just clean up and go somewhere else. Why wouldn't they? If they could go somewhere and pay less taxes and get a bigger profit. There was more incentive in the last couple of years for them to stay here. It's just weird that every time a Democrat gets into office, we always seem to make more because they take the minimum wage up, but our dollars always seem to buy less. I know I ramble on. I'm just trying to let you get a feel for exactly what this show is going to be like. And if it picks up more, it's going to be an everyday thing. And like I said, I promise you the videos will get better. The effects will get better. The clips, the information will get better. But I decided to do this because I have a lot of opinions and I have a lot of facts that I retain, and a lot of people around me may be getting tired of hearing it, so I thought I'd bring it to a broader audience. So, what does anybody think about doing local candidate interviews, like our township supervisors, our mayors, anything like that, bringing them on the show? Getting maybe some aerial views of the coal region for everybody to see, and bring in some clips from videos so we can talk about the privileges that they're going to allow us to have if we comply and take their vaccine. They can't force you to take the vaccine, but they can incentivize companies to not hire you if you don't have the vaccine. So it always gets it. I think the vaccines, the masks, even just the masks, my opinion is that they did that just to see how much control they really had. And they're going to continue pushing it. It was mostly all a ploy to scare people into thinking that Trump was the cause of the downfall of our country. But it got out of hand. People got too much power. Now they're not wanting to let go. Dr. Fauci just said the other day that maybe in a few years from now we'll just decide to wear masks in certain seasons, because for respiratory diseases and things like that it seems to help. But what about the states that are lifting all the COVID sanctions and things, like, you're not seeing their numbers go up, even though they said they would. This is something to think about. Look at the gas line shortages we're having. Not too long ago, we were completely energy independent, building new gas lines. What happened there? All these gas line shortages. We got countries bombing our allies over with Israel. We got Russia going in on Ukraine and telling us to back off and not get involved. This wasn't happening a couple months ago. So, I'm going to bring more information about Mr. Biden, former President Trump. And maybe I'll even bring some information about the audit that's going on in Arizona, which the Democrats, instead of helping to prove that they won, prove it. Why not prove it? What's the harm in it? Doing everything to fight it, to stop it, to discredit it. But enough about that. Like I said, there's a couple things that are going on here in where I live. Like, why are our township police becoming the private police for a recreational area that's used on county land that somebody decided to use for four-wheeler riding and, exploit the area around here? So local citizens that used to walk these mountains, ride these mountains, do what they wanted to, are now also being charged and still have to deal with the noise. And it's called all in the sake of bringing tourism to our area. And I'd like to know who's making the money off tourism. So with that, remember to, like I said, like this video and click the subscribe button, and I will bring you more once I get the hang of using the editing software, and once I start getting more clips and more time and having better equipment. I promise you that this is going to come. Any suggestions? Anything you'd like to say in general, go ahead and leave in the comments. Because there's not too much you can say about me that hasn't already been said, or that I won't say about myself. So, I'll leave you with the motto that I live by. Act stupidly, get treated accordingly. That's all for today. I hope to see you back here again. Next time, turn on your notification buttons, click like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll be back to you.